Welcome back to the Road to a Million podcast. Today I'm with Jake from the Locals Detailing out in Warrenton, Pennsylvania. These guys just recently got their third mobile detailing van and are getting ready to move into their new shop. They've got 6 employees, and for just having started a few years ago, these guys are absolutely crushing it. On the podcast, Jake's going to tell us about how he got started, which is a crazy and coincidental story. We just connected a few dots as we were recording this episode. So pretty cool to see. I'll let Jake share that here in a minute. But just goes to show you, this is one of the reasons why I do this. It's really cool to see other guys that have been inspired by the podcast. And I appreciate everyone that has been a guest on the show. It inspires and motivates more people than you know. Hope you guys enjoy this one. A ton of value in it, and I hope you guys are able to learn something. Don't forget you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, today I'm with Jake, owner of the Locals Detailing. Jake, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Of course, dude. Thank you for having me. Excited.
Well, I'm excited to talk with you too. I know that we had touched base like back earlier in the year, and you were looking to get a shop at a car wash back then, just like we're at, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And then that fell through.
Yeah, so I was reaching out, I was, talking with a realtor. He went me out or sent me out to the site. I checked out the location. It was great. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys are connected to one. You've had a lot of success. You see the traffic that's coming in and out of those car washes every single day, thinking you can just pick people off left and right. And it was good. We had a deal written up, and I paid. I did everything I could, and then the township, shut it down. They said only one business could operate back there. So I felt as if it was almost like a blessing in disguise, because we were on the back half of winter. So I was heading into the mobile season, which we primarily do. So I was like, maybe this wasn't the right fit. Maybe I wasn't ready, but I did reach out to you because I saw you guys were doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, now you have a third van, so you invested that money into your third
Exactly.
van.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 grand putting down, the first last security. Almost just took that and put it into the build out in the van. And, when the time was right, we did it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can get more into that here in a minute because I'm curious to know, to hear more about, because I know you guys are looking at a shop now, right?
Yeah. We actually are moving into one August 1st, which is just like a small little 2 bay garage. We really just want to operate the ceramics out of there. Just so we have a controlled environment. People trust us, we have a location. But I'm still looking for that one that we can settle down in and, start to scale.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that here in a minute, but tell me, why'd you get started and like why mobile detailing?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of other business owners, college just wasn't the route for me. I was in high school, always worked labor intensive jobs. I was landscaping, snow removal, doing all that kind of fun stuff. 15, 17 an hour. It was good. It was good money, cash. I like to work long hours, so I knew I had that in me. And then I just knew, I worked for one of my buddies, so it was tough. It was a little bit of button heads here and there. He was making more money than me, and I was doing a lot more work. So that mindset kind of, flipped the switch. And I was always looking for something. I stumbled upon a podcast, and it was called Side Hustles Podcast, and he was doing like 6K a month. And that was a super appealing because detailing cars, I haven't heard too many people do that. And, the entry level, the way he explained it was a super low startup cost. And I knew, we could definitely make some good money in there. So that's exactly what we did.
Dude, are you sure that wasn't me?
Dude, I know. I mean, it might have been. I see there's a lot of people now that are always
Who
posting
was
like,
the podcast host?
so were you in college and your brother was in high school or no?
Yes.
That was you. Swear to God.
I swear to God,
Oh,
dude.
no way.
I
Oh
swear
my
to God.
God.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I did not even know those ties. So you were making money or you were running the business while your brother was working, right?
Yeah.
Dude, no way.
Yes, dude.
Oh my God.
It was
That's
Nick.
actually,
Nick Looper was the podcast host.
dude, your voice now, everything's, I swear on my life, I honestly, I always go back trying to look for it because people ask me this question, like, how did you start? That is nuts, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Wow. So
that's 4 years
you're
ago.
you're the reason why I started. So there's your answer. Dude,
That's crazy, dude.
his voice was like it just flipped like a switch where like I don't even know, you were just talking, I was like I could do it. Um that's crazy, dude.
So,
Wow.
did you listen to his podcast before you'd heard my episode,
No,
or?
so like I was just one of those guys that was always trying to find something. I know I tried selling golf balls, we did curb painting, my partner and I, or he actually did that and I kind of tried doing it with him. We would go to these like the Gary V stuff. We would go to yard sales, try and do all that kind of stuff. And then no, I think I was just on Apple Podcasts and I stumbled upon it. And I was a senior in high school, so I was 2021. And yeah, dude, wait, that's crazy. I like wrote notes from that podcast and everything. I wish I could pull it
Wow,
up. It was on my computer in high school, so I lost all of that gold stuff. But damn, that's crazy.
that is crazy,
That's
dude.
sick. That's
So,
cool
what'd you
on you.
do after you heard the podcast? Like,
Um,
were you like
yeah.
go into the store, bought the stuff, and?
Yeah, so first thing I did was I actually brought the idea to my partner Aiden now. I think in the beginning, obviously, you want to lean on someone. You guys want to go in on it together. You're a little scared, so
Mhm.
brought the idea to him. He was the same as me. We were working these jobs together. We were actually called the A team at our landscaping job. People requested our services, so we knew we had, we gelled right. Brought the idea to him, and we just from there, I guess he came up with the name actually, which he holds on to. So we came up with the name and yeah, went to Walmart, Home Depot, got the vacuum, got we were just doing insides at the time, so I guess we had interior cleaner, rags, brushes,
Yeah.
vacuum, nothing
How'd you
crazy.
get how'd you get your business at first?
Dude, crazy. So I posted in our local community group. We're in a good community here in Bucks County. So it's a tight knit area. Everyone kind of knows each other. I come from a big family, so we have a reputable name around here. As well as my partner. So we posted in our local community group. It blew up, dude. Like 350 likes, 80 comment. I had no idea what to do. I actually left school like the day after I posted it, and like was like, I can't even handle this. I was like, had my mom. She was helping me like handwrite like into a calendar. The people that were coming in. Like she would write out like the responses I should do back to the people that were reaching out for rates. Like I really did not know what to do. So the Facebook community group popped off, and I still rely on it now. It's definitely one of our marketing strategies now, still to this day.
So, like, I know some of those Facebook community groups are kind of weird about advertising. So, how did you do that?
So how it is in ours is I think Mondays in one of them is acceptable for business promotion. Wednesdays and the other, they each have their separate days, and it hasn't been too much of a problem for us, honestly. But it is a huge community group. There's like 10,000 to 15,000 people in it, and we have past clients now that will like comment, put a good word in, and it kind of just helps the algorithm. I see other detailers in our area posting on there and they get no likes.
Wow.
But I think just we've created that sort of experience for people where they feel like they're part of the company. You know what I mean? I like to look at it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do you think separates you from all the other guys?
I I hold on to like Aiden and I's like personalness. I feel like I talk to every single customer, create a relationship with them in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's they got a cool car in their garage, we can talk about that. Siblings, sports teams, Phillies, anything that I can kind of strike up with a customer, I will do, and I'll go the extra mile, and being a personable guy and just becoming close with them on like a almost like a friendship level rather than like they're just giving me money for business. So that's kind of what I've done, and I think that's really helped us, you know, set ourselves apart.
Yeah. What do you remember what the post was when you posted in that Facebook
Yeah.
group first?
So what Eden and I did was, we did our own cars first to kind of gather those before and after pictures, which you said to do. Everything that you said in your podcast is exactly what I posted. I think you said that your mom reached out to a bunch of your friends. I did
Hmm.
that. I had my mom, reach out to some of her friends, put in a good word. So before and after pictures, and then basically just letting the community know that we were, young entrepreneurs, um, still in high school, not going to college, and we were starting up this business, and people loved it, which I'm sure you see in your business as well. Everyone is out there to support the young entrepreneurs, and they'll do anything they can to kind of kickstart your business.
Yep. What were your prices back then?
It was $75 for an interior. People would ask us for the outside. We tell them no. Like I straight up said no to people. We used to not clean the windows. I think we didn't even clean the trunk at first. There was like crazy stuff that we would do that I'm still so surprised that we're at this point now. And we have some loyal customers that we did then that we're still doing now. So it's super cool to see people's loyalty and see how far you come in the game, because I didn't know a single thing about detailing, and I still personally wasn't really I'm not a car guy. I mean, I've obviously grown to like cars, but I'm not like a car fanatic like some of these people that get into detailing. Like that's obviously their passion.
Yeah.
Where I think for me it was just wanting to own a business and wanting to be that boss that everyone wants to be.
Is it the same way with your partner, Aiden?
Yeah, I think, dude, like we have a really good work ethic, and I'm sure you see with people you bring on and other people you talk to. Not everyone has that, and that's fine. Some people want to work for someone else, which is completely fine. You know what I mean? That's what makes the world go around. But we always had that itch that you just wanted to you wanted to work, and I think now in the business I've kind of jumped into the role of like I want to scale something rather than just a work,
Mhm.
um, which I think is something that sets people apart down the line. But starting out, it is just you want to work. You know what I mean? We wake up 7 a.m. We're out there till 8 p.m. Even yesterday, had a 12-hour day, so it doesn't stop, and that's what got us going.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What's your roles like in the business? Like, what is Aiden doing, and what are you doing? How do you balance
Yeah,
that?
we've kind of just been diving into the roles and responsibilities. We're definitely getting some operating agreements going, just legalizing a lot of things as the business scales. I'm sure you kind of want to button things up a little bit more. Um, I've kind of been handling a lot more of the administrative things, talking to accountants, networking, social media, payroll, um, just all that kind of stuff. My phone number is the number that handles a lot of the sales. So obviously that's time consuming as well. Where Aiden is, he's operations guy. You know what I mean? We have him training people. We have him managing a lot of issues that might go on throughout the day. If someone calls back or if someone's, if there's a problem on the job, he'll be there and he'll take care of it. And, we trust each other. I think that's the biggest thing in growing a business with someone is it's like a marriage. So, you guys are loyal to each other, you trust each other, and you just have to, if you're on the same page, got the same goal in mind, there shouldn't be any problems.
Yeah. Do you remember what you guys made your first year in business?
First year in business, we did 80,000, I believe.
It's
That's
pretty
our
good.
first. So that was our first like year tracking. Our first year, dude. I don't even know. Like, so I guess I can kind of break this down for you a little bit. We started in 2021. Our, obviously out of high school, we were doing jobs after school. The summertime, like we were still going to the beach all the time, hanging out. Like we were partying. Like we're fun guys. We like to hang out with our friends. So we weren't really like in that business mindset yet. So like we weren't tracking anything. Any money that came in, just we Venmoed to each other, Cash Apped. If we needed chemical, like it was an absolute mess of a business. We didn't even wash towels. It's really cool to see how far it's come.
What do you mean you
Um,
didn't wash towels?
like the interior towels that we would do, like that we would use to clean up people's dirt, we would just continue to use. Like it's terrible. I know I hate even saying that and exposing myself, but we don't do that now. So that's a key point. But
we've
yeah,
all got we've all got
yeah,
things like that.
I know we weren't doing the outside though. So come on, we weren't scratching people's paint.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we were doing some questionable things at the time. So that was, and then jumping into 2022, same thing, kind of just cruising. I think Aiden and I struggled a little bit when everyone went to college. Everyone went to college and we were kind of left behind. We were just working, and that was tough. We were still going down all the time to visit colleges and whatnot. So that kind of set us back a little bit. And final straw, we took the trip down to Florida. We drove our personal vehicles down to Florida to try and detail down there. And no business, right? It was a complete and utter fail. But I think that is where Aiden and I were like, listen, we're going to go all in on this business. We're going to come back home. We're getting an LLC. We're getting insurance. We're getting a van. We're getting a business bank account. We're going all in on this. And that's exactly what we did. So that first year, which is 2023, we did 80,000. So that's kind of the backstory a little bit. Obviously, 80,000 wasn't off of $75 details.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what did you, so that was 2023. So
Yeah.
then 2024 was last year. And you guys did you buy your first van in 2023?
2023, we did buy our first van. The backstory behind that is Aiden's dad. He was like, listen, like he kind of pushed us. Like he brought cash to this exchange that we were going to do. Aiden and I had probably 4 or 5 grand in the bank account at that point that we built up over the year. And he was like, he found this van on the side of the road, brought the cash, was like, listen, we're doing it. He paid up front, but we paid him $1,000 a week. So obviously at the time our business wasn't really doing like crazy numbers. So Aiden and I were getting nothing, and we were using this van to pay him $1,000 a week. So we paid him 20. Well, we had to pay 1,000 of interest. So we paid 21,000 back to him in 21 weeks. So that was like a super big milestone for Aiden and I, knowing that like we had that in us to do something like that, and that was like that's what really got us going. You know what I mean? You get the van, which is awesome, and then once you pay it off entirely in 21 weeks, which I would never do now, but at the time that's what felt right, and that's what
Yeah.
we did.
Dude, you guys were grinding in those
Oh my
21 weeks.
god, bro! It was like we were like I don't know like what we were doing. Like we were taking like $250 maybe like at the end of a month. Like that's what we were taking to pay ourselves. But like I said, we did have these landscaping jobs in the past, so we had some good chunk of change saved up. Or at the time, it was a decent amount of money. I'm still living at home, so there's not a lot of expenses. But yeah, dude, it was a grind. It was a hustle. It was definitely sometimes we were like, I don't even know. We wanted to miss a payment, but it didn't happen. His dad wouldn't let us do that, and I have a lot of respect for him for taking the chance on us because we could have burned him. I don't know. I mean, like
Yeah.
he put out a lot of money for us, so that was the kickstart,
Do you feel like the van helped?
without a doubt. I'd say it's almost like it's like accountability. Like it's like accountability coach. Like you have this van that you have to take care of, and you're going to be pulling up on job sites with. You want it to be clean. You want it to be organized. The wrap was huge, and being young entrepreneurs, like that's when people started to take us more seriously. When we had the van, we were pulling up. I had a 2009 Jetta. Eden has a 2006 Fusion. So it wasn't like we were pulling up, and I see people now have like these nice SUV setups, which is awesome. And if I had that, maybe I would have waited a little longer to get the van. But like we really did not have a good setup. So the van was just, people respected us a lot more, and I think that definitely turned some heads in our area. Like, wow, these guys are legit, and they got some serious services.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to know, like, once you got the van, you had been doing the Facebook community group postings.
Yeah.
So, like, what did your marketing look like going forward?
So it's crazy. I mean, we really didn't jump into a lot of marketing until now, which is still slim to none. Like the word of mouth was crazy in the early stages, still is now. The community groups was like a weekly thing that Aiden and I were doing, and we were one of those companies at the time that we were booked out for like a month. Like we were 3 weeks to a month booked out, which we were super happy about at the time. Um, and like how it is, like you're detailing a job, a neighbor walks up, you book them right then and there. We were still using Google Calendar at the time, so it was services, or we're still like very affordable prices for a lot of people, which they were definitely getting a steal. We had a van, we had a legit setup, and we were still charging probably a little under value. So we were, dude, people were booking. We didn't really have a problem with marketing in the beginning, so we just continued to do the Facebook posts. Obviously we're active on Instagram. But yeah, dude, that was it, and that's really just that's what
Google
really blew us
Business?
up. No Google business page. I didn't set that up until this year, actually. This year has been our first, like, I'm all in on all sorts of, I wouldn't even say like marketing. I've been a little bit more mindful of it. I've been
Hmm.
paying attention to it more. I did just create my first meta ad the other day. So I don't want to jump too far down the line, but yeah, not too much marketing in the beginning, just the Facebook groups.
So you guys did 83,000 your first year, like
Yeah,
tracking?
yeah. So we were just using Google Sheets. After every job, we put in what the person paid. Same thing with expenses. I had my dad just set me up kind of this thing where it would calculate it for you. So I had month over month seeing what we did, and it's super cool. I still have those Google Sheets now, which is cool to look back on and see like wow, we only did 4,000 in February, which now is if you're not making that in like a couple days to a week, it's kind of a tough week. So it's cool to see what
Yeah.
you did in a month versus now in a week.
Yeah. What did you guys do 2024 sales wise?
2024, we did right around 160, so we almost doubled. Um, so yeah, this year, we got some bigger goals set, and just keep. I think we just want to keep doubling down. Especially, I feel like when you're a little bit smaller, the numbers are a little bit easier to double and scale. Once
Yeah.
you reach a period where you're kind of scaling at an average rate, it helps a little bit more to plan and set these goals. Where now I'm just setting goals off of just how hard I want to work and how hard I want to go after these goals.
Are you still not paying yourself, or have you guys figured
No,
that out?
so we're on payroll now. Still really low. We file as an S corp, or we just did that transitioning to that this year. So we are filing as an S corp. So obviously you keep the weekly payroll low, and then at the end of the year, if we're in a position where we can pull a little bit of a bonus, we could do that with some tax advantages.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. But I'm going to keep putting money into the business as long as it keeps if we're doubling our revenue. I'm going to keep putting money back in. I think jumping a little bit more into the you know seeing how profitable we are. Obviously, hiring now, I'm still out there working. Aiden's still out there working. We're getting paid a super low rate, where it's kind of hard to plug and play with people, seeing what they're actually worth. My job right now is definitely not worth what I'm getting paid, so it's kind of tough to then like hire. It makes I'm almost making it tougher on myself by not paying myself what I'm truly worth,
Hmm.
because now if I need to hire someone, like I have a lot of tasks that I'm doing, it's definitely not worth 15 an hour. So there are some benefits to paying yourself a little bit less, and there also are some negative sides that come with it.
Yeah. But you only have, I think it was Dustin from OCD that said he's like, you only have 100% of the pie. And like when you need to pull from certain sections to invest back into your business, usually the easiest thing to pull from is like your own pay.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. um, Yeah, there's so many ways to look at it. We've kind of This is our first year on payroll, and this is our first year with a set amount that we're getting. So I think we'll probably reevaluate at the end of the year, see where we're at. Definitely still in the growing stages, so I think a lot of these things will definitely fluctuate as we move on. Um, the way I kind of look at it right now is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Aiden and I are continuing getting paid low, and then I think next year, I want to be at somewhat of a rate where I can possibly move out and get a car I enjoy. Or not that I want to do anything crazy, but I still drive a beater and things like that.
Yeah.
So
I think
um,
that I had an expectation, still do to this day, of that it would be quicker than what
oh
it
yeah,
has been to
oh
like
my god,
be able to afford the things that you want. Or and I mean like that, my whole perspective on that side of things has just completely changed. But as I've grown in the business, I've realized like, oh, it takes longer than you think.
oh my god. And I talk to I'm always picking people's brain. I'm always talking to entrepreneurs and business owners in our area, and they just keep telling me the same thing. Obviously, we're young and keep hustling, and it'll come. You just got to be patient. And I've been taking a lot of people's advice, and do you're right. Like I thought by this time I'd be reigning in it, but it's obviously not the case, and it's humbling. It's definitely one of the things I will say. Everyone in our area is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you guys are business owners. You're making so much money," and I'm like, "Yeah, what I mean, like it's going great. Obviously, I'm happy with how the business is going, but um, we're definitely not reigning in it." So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's it's like that for most small business owners around the country is like most small business owners really just bought themselves a 70-hour work week,
Yep. Yeah.
and
No,
they've
I
got to
know.
do everything. And it's really hard becoming the Grant Menards
I know.
of the world.
It's cool. Like that's why I said it's like a huge inspiration, and it's tough. That's why I'm always trying to learn from people, and I'm always learning. That's something that I feel like we can all probably agree on is that like I don't have everything figured out, and there's definitely other ways to go about things. And every year you kind of grow, and you look back, and you're like, I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean? So that's why hold on to in my brain at all times. That it'll figure itself out, and if we continue to do what we're doing, it'll pay off, and hopefully one day we'll be able to pull an amount we're both happy with, and be able to live a life that we want. Because that's at the end of the day, that's what you're doing in business. I mean, I'm passionate about the car detailing business, and I think it's awesome and great. But at the end of the day, like we're all lifestyle entrepreneurs. We want to be able to do fun stuff and have time, be able to enjoy things in life rather than just working.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I want to know what your hiring was like because I'm sure that if you were anything like us, and it sounds like you were exactly like us, you started to be booked out like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you realize like pretty quickly it's like, okay, well, we probably need to have a
Yeah.
second van and need to hire, and so you got the second van in 2024 and hired some people. So what did that look like? Um, Hiring? How'd you find them? How'd you train? How'd that
Yeah.
go?
So we were working in the winter months here. Um, I actually lost my mom in 2024, beginning of 2024, which was like obviously heartbreaking. It was super tough to go through. And then, someone reached out to me over Instagram, just, sending their condolences and whatnot. And he was a brother of one of my friends who I also lost in 2023. So we were like grieving together, going back and forth, texting, talking, just, going through that process as it's, very tough for everyone to go through. And we kind of just hit it off. And he was like, listen, like I have detailing experience. He actually worked at Menards. He
Huh.
was head of detail there. And, he left that job and was kind of, not working for a while. Came to us, said like, listen, dude, obviously I'd love to keep talking about, what we're going through at the moment, as well as he needs to get his feet back. He needs to get back up under his feet and, get working again. So he actually came out, started working with us. It was our first employee, Casey. He started in 2024 of February. So hiring him was super easy. Obviously, he super hardworking guy. He's our lead guy. I trust him with everything at this point in the business. He handles a lot of things, takes a lot of things, a lot of stress off of my back, and he's been super great. I'm so grateful that he came, and I couldn't have done it without him. Obviously, the team is super important. And then we kind of went all 2024 just kind of working us three. We were three-headed snake, dude. Like we had three detailers that were just killing it. So we were doing 3 cars a day. Super successful year. Came June, I actually got our second van. Realized that obviously being booked out a month is not a good thing in any business. So one of the local businesses around here said, which was super good advice to me, whenever you're 2 weeks booked out, get another van or get another truck because that's when you're almost missing out on money. Which I thought was a super good advice to us. So we kind of took that and implemented it. Got our second van. I hired my brother, he was going into his sophomore year at the time. He started working with us, training him from scratch. So that was obviously super tough. Had a good summer though. We hit obviously all of our best months. Did super well. Then he went back to school, and we were actually operating 2 vans on one job site, which was a ginormous mistake. I started getting really close with my mentor at the time, and he started, obviously opening up like my brain a little bit, and like I started really thinking more business like than just work. And he obviously told me that really probably wasn't the best decision to be having 2 vans on one job site, three really good detailers. Just it wasn't smart. So that's where we kind of were at that point. We kind of cruised like that through the winter until this year, which we then hired our second guy, which Casey referred, who also worked at Menards. So shout out Grant Menard. He trained these guys, and they came over to us, which obviously no bad blood. They were, I think it was just like, I'm not sure the reasons of actually why they stopped working there, which is besides the point. But yeah, they came over like trained, which was super great and super beneficial to us. Still different things, obviously different systems and processes, and obviously working through a lot of other things that go on throughout the detail. Um, but yeah, that was kind of where we were at that point. So now we have. So where does that leave us off at? That leaves us off at
So you hired your third or your second full time employee after Casey, um, not
this
including your
year.
brother
Yeah,
this
this
year, just
year.
beginning of this year.
Yeah, this year, and then I guess I'll continue there. Um, we were working 2 vans, going great. Realized we were booked up again, so went out, got our third van, hired our Joey's referral. He's actually super into cars, so it was super easy to train him. These guys both graduated from high school in 2024, so I think that's definitely people that we will target. People right out of high school that don't want to go to college, that want to work with their hands. They want to get dirty. They want to be a part of something that is worth growing. I tell all of our guys, we want more. You know what I mean? You guys aren't going to be getting paid 15 an hour detailing cars your whole life. Joey is super into paint correcting. Um, so I want to take care of these guys as best I can. Get them in situations where they're going to be happy and where they can make an amount of money that they desire to. And I think that's almost good pressure as a business owner, knowing that you have people that are putting a lot of time and effort into your business, and you want to
Mhm.
make sure you're giving it back to them. And couldn't do it without them, honestly. So super thankful for them.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't realize how much I would care about. Just didn't even think about it until you get into the situation where you've got several guys that depend on you for
Yeah.
their rent and their food and families eventually. And it's like that's really eye opening, and it does put a lot of pressure on you. And but it's good pressure, like I mean
Hmm.
sometimes it gets stressful and sometimes you get frustrated because you want to make sure everyone's staying busy and things are going perfect because hey, your job's on the line at the end of the day. We can't have be making mistakes because then the customers are going to not come back, and that's not a good. You have to be really careful. I mean, all that
Hmm.
stuff can be true, but um, you can still handle it. I think in a negative way that ends up actually destroying your team and kind of building like this bad work environment. So you don't want to go down that rabbit hole too far, but it's very good motivation and it makes me feel really good to be able to take care of these dudes and ultimately, help us all to grow so where we can, like you said, make the money we want to one day.
No, exactly. And I think like right on, like these guys got rent to pay. Some of these guys want a new car. I always ask the guys, what their goals are and what they want, see how we can get there, how I can help. Um, and that's just been, like you said, it's super important and something as an owner, you have to realize that, you got to take care of these guys. They're doing a lot for your company and can't do it without them.
Yeah. But you also have to take care of yourself too. And I think that
Yeah.
that's one thing that I'm trying to find the balance between now is like ultimately you can pull from your pay
Hmm.
quicker than you could ever pull from your guys' pay, and you it's harder to pull from really any other category other than your own pay, especially when you don't have a lot of expenses. You'll just
Yeah.
cut down your pay a little bit, but you also have to take care of yourself, man, because you're the most important person on the team. And I'm not saying that you got to be paying yourself, tons of money. Obviously, not, but you've got to find that balance, and that's a hard balance to find.
Super hard. Like I said, I think this is hopefully our last year kind of in the mud. Really, putting a lot in, obviously figuring things out. But hopefully after this year, we can kind of get a reasonable amount of money where, we can take care of ourselves and, we got girlfriends, we got families. I want to be able to buy someone a nice gift, just little things like that. When your pay is super low, it does become, um, you're on a little bit of a budget. So
Yeah.
sometimes a movie night on Thursday, it's going to be at home. Yeah, my
Do you have a
girlfriend.
girlfriend?
Yeah, I do. She's super cool. Obviously, she understands where we're at in business, and she's always like, because she's obviously like, she'll see like the cash that comes in, obviously, or like a Venmo. Um, And I'm like, trust me, that's not going to my bank account. Obviously, it goes to the business, and then the payroll stays the same. So um, I think obviously explaining that to people is, I try and let them know that it's not all coming to my bank account.
Yeah. And I think there are some people out there, mostly people that haven't run a business before or don't understand how business works, that think that you're like, oh my gosh, $400 for a detail, $1,000 for a ceramic coating. Like that's
Yeah,
insane. It's like, whenever you're a weekend hustler, then that would be a lot of money if I could pocket
yeah,
that 80% of it just after I pay for my coating and,
yep.
some of my materials. But when you're doing this full time and you've got all the expenses and all the overhead that comes with that, a lot of people would be surprised at what's actually left over at the end of the day.
Oh my God, yeah. And then don't even, we don't even mention taxes. There's all sorts of stuff, and I think that's what I've gotten into this year as well. Is fully making a P&L, right? Like seeing everything, breaking it down. Are you on your Able at all, or what do you use for your booking software?
No, we use Square right now.
Okay, Square. So I can break down our inventory, see what we're spending on each job with the chemicals.
That's nice.
There's a lot of things. Obviously, business insurance. You got loans for your vans if you have those. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say our overhead being a mobile business is super high, but definitely there's still money that is coming out every month.
Yeah. Biggest expense is payroll, man.
Oh yeah, no, I've quickly realized that.
And
So.
it's something I want to talk to you about actually, because I know that you had mentioned that you're getting the shop on August 1st and you're going to be moving
Hmm.
into that. And you told me that you guys need to start raising you need to get that average ticket cost up.
Yep.
So do you not feel like that's attainable with mobile detailing? Like, can you not raise the mobile detailing tickets or upsells or anything?
Yeah. So I feel like we're at a pretty competitive price right now with detailing alone. Obviously, I think upselling on the job has been huge now. You got your clay bar services, ozone, headlights, all that kind of fun stuff is great. But obviously, I'm not on the job at every time. I'm not hounding down every single customer to try and upsell them. So, you know, using that, like getting that ticket higher is tougher to come by. Obviously, you got your van. Let's just say you break down the math. A van does 600 to 800 a day after you take out payroll and expenses and all that. I'd say your margins are lower. Obviously, you stack a bunch of vans, you can reach pretty good numbers. But obviously, with two, three, four, five vans, your margins aren't like crazy. Where we started doing ceramic coatings, you realize what you can charge, and the margins are like way better. Um, and I'm not saying that I love mobile detailing. I think what we kind of have been using to our advantage is getting these people on a ceramic coating and then quickly getting them on our monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly services. And where someone who is only in the shop, they can't do that. You know what I mean? They get a coating in, yeah, they charge them $2,500 for a coating, but then they're coming to our detailing company to then keep up with it monthly. And you stack that up over 10 years. We smoke them. They only get the $2,500 ticket, where we're now collecting well more than that. So I have jumped into that immensely with mobile detailing, um, getting in on these like I said, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, and bi-yearly. I've just started doing this year. So we have probably 7 to 8 grand booked for September, October, November, December, which is awesome and a lot of stress off my back knowing that going into these slower months, I already have people on the schedule. So that's been super beneficial for us, and I think that it will kind of the limiting belief of mobile detailing really can't reach these high numbers will kind of come down a little bit once I get into those months and I realize the work that I put in now is paying off in these slower months now. Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with that. If that answers that question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I can't remember who it was that I had on the podcast that told me that they plan on rolling out mobile detailing for the main reason of just like being in front of their customers more. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just you're in front of them every month, every 2 months, and so if that person gets a new car, I would
Yep.
think they would probably be more inclined to maybe ask you, "What do you
Yep.
think? Like, should I get PPF on this? Should I get a coating again?
Mm-hmm.
What is it worth it? I had one done on my last car, and like you get the opportunity to talk with them because you're the one seeing them more.
Dude, 100%. We know these people's dogs by first base name. Their kids come out and say hello to us. We're really creating this personable connection where they trust us. You know what I mean? If something happens to their car, they're going to call us first, and we're going to be the ones to get that job. So yeah, these monthly customers have just been like amazing for our company, and definitely something that I think every business should hone in on and focus to get more of.
Yeah. Um, how many of those monthly customers do you have now, or bi-monthly or
Yeah.
quarterly?
So bi-yearly has been something I've really been focusing on. So every 6 months, because obviously your regular customer isn't going to want their car detailed every single month, right? And you still got to have a package for them that can fit their needs. So bi-yearly has been huge. I'd say the monthly customers we probably have around 15 or so. Obviously, some of those customers have two cars. We have one guy who is every Friday two cars we wash for $100, so $200 every Friday.
Just wash
Um,
it?
just wash it. He's got a Z06 and a GLS, so super easy. Then we got a couple people on bi-weeklies, so they kind of add up once you get in the weekly and the bi-weeklies,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the monthlies. So it's it's fun to kind of see those services stack up and see how many you can get on your schedule, because those are where your money's going to be.
What are you charging for your monthly?
Our monthly service is right around 150. I do say I eat it sometimes a little bit because we end up spending longer than an hour and a half there. No more than two. Definitely no more than two. Try and be right at 100 an hour. That's definitely our target there. But some of these cars are a little dirtier than I'd like. But I have a personal relationship with them, and I don't know. I'm not gonna charge someone that much more for something that takes me 30 minutes longer every single month they're there. And tips are huge in this business. You know what I mean? So they're
Yeah,
tipping our guys out. They're tipping me still as the owner. So I'm not going to break their back over, spending 30 more minutes on their car.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough spot to be. I think another thing too that we have to be comfortable with is being willing and able to raise your price, whether
So,
it's at the end of the year, even if it's just a little bit. Hey, it's the yearly and time of year, yearly price increases. We're going to be going up $20.
yeah, I know. People have told me that, and I've thought about it. I think the monthlies, I definitely will. I have a couple people on there for 120 or so that have got in early with the service, and I sold them pretty low. Where now might not be too worth my time, but that's something I'll definitely reevaluate at the end of the year, like you said. I did just raise our prices $4.99. So they used to be like a dead even like 260, where I then changed it to 264.99. I'm not sure if that has any sort of effect, but I had a couple of people tell me that psychologically it does make a difference. So I tested it, and I've had no problem, even though it's a $5 change. No one's cared.
Yeah. Well, and I think that $5 does you a lot more good as a small business owner. Like, when you look at all the volume that you're doing, it really that
Yeah,
stuff will help.
dude, it's huge. You do, let's just say, I don't know, 1,000 jobs. Like it adds up quick. So
Yeah. What are you charging for like your full standard detail? What's your average
okay.
ticket for that?
Yeah. So obviously the sedan is 264.99. You jump in the midsize like Ford Escapes and whatnot. It's I raised it 279.99, and then large SUVs and trucks is 304.99. One thing I have noticed, which I want to ask you as well, if you've noticed this, no more sedans. I do not get any sedan details, and if I do, it's on a lot lower scale. We don't do that many. I'd say
Really?
everything is, yeah, a lot of large SUVs, a lot of trucks, um, a lot of midsize. I really don't do too many sedans. Um,
Hmm.
so I feel like that's, a lot of our jobs are taking a little bit longer than I'd like, just because they're so large. You get these Escalades and Honda Pilots, they
Mhm.
end up taking a little longer than I'd like. So that's definitely been kind of a pain point for us right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would definitely say that the people with minivans, so like the average family, husband's going to drive a truck, mom's
Mm-hmm.
going to drive usually an SUV of some
Mm-hmm.
sorts. So those are usually the people that I feel like are the most in need for detailing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not that they're like low hanging fruit, but I mean they are very much good customers. And That makes sense. I mean, we still do get a decent amount of sedans, but I would say that SUVs and trucks are definitely more.
Yeah, no, I'd love to like obviously hear where you're at with obviously your prices and the kind of cars you got coming in. I think it's cool to kind of see on like a global scale what people are charging because I know every area is different.
Yeah.
You see people on TikTok, Instagram charging, you know, I see people charging like $600 for a full detail, which like that's super cool. But I definitely can't get that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really hard to know when you just watch a post, like all
That's
the
true.
details,
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I just implemented on our software. There's some sort of like approval process where I'll run the client through. Like, listen, this is what you're getting. This is what we need from you. Here's any disclaimers. So I do have on there like a before your detail link where they'll open it up. Hey, listen, we've dealt with excessive messes in the past of kids, staining, pet hair, anything like that. This additional 75 takes more time. We'll obviously have a conversation. Some people would rather us, just do the best we can and they're not too picky. They don't want to pay. While other people are like, hey, listen, spend the time. I'll pay the 75 bucks. So that's definitely been a huge break point for us this year is being able to, have the guts to go up to the door and have that conversation. Where in the past I would almost just eat it, just being scared and timid. Where now, like, I'm confident with my work. I know what we bring to the table. And
Yep.
a lot of times these people are getting a great deal. So I'm not scared to walk up and say, listen, it's going to be additional 75.
And that's the difference. That's the only difference between the guys charging more and the guys charging less is
Yeah.
it's the confidence in knowing that you have the people, you have the customers that are willing to pay for your services, that still appreciate it, that still tip on top of
Mm-hmm.
paying those high prices, and that you have the confidence to talk to people about it. And some of that's just reps, man. It's
Yep,
just
it
getting
is.
in the reps.
I tell our guys that. I'm like, dude, just go up, try it. If they give you a hard time, give me a call or something. But rarely do they give them a hard time because they understand. I mean, my car's a mess. Uh, you know, I understand why you guys need to charge more, and I'll do it. So
Yeah.
I obviously hate being that guy that is charging more than what I originally quoted you for. That's why I do give them the call. We don't ask for pictures or anything like that. So that's why when I run them through the approval process beforehand, myself, the owner, is letting them know what they should expect. And a lot of times they'll just own up to it over the phone and be like, yeah, I might need that $75 fee. So that makes it a
Yeah.
lot easier if I'm sending guys out on the job. I put in the notes like, $75 fee, just have a conversation. And
Yeah.
that's super easy training. Just telling the guys, be calm, cool, and collected, and walk up there and say it with your chest. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, this is where we're at, and this is where we're going to charge, and I'll let you know when we're done, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah, we do the same thing, man. We give a range, and so we ask some questions when we're on the phone with them. So people can book online, or if they just call in directly, then we would ask the questions. Then if they book online, then we would call them before the appointment and ask a series of questions like, do they have messes from kids?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have, and that's a funny question. It's almost worth just asking, do they have kids
Kids,
that
yeah,
ride in the
because
back?
that's all that matters. None of
Exactly.
them are clean. Um,
Exactly.
that's
And then
smart.
do they have
So
pets?
yeah,
Do they have stains that they're aware of on the seats, on the carpets? You can kind of get the read. A lot of it's just personal. You personally have to read what this person's saying. And then sometimes I'll ask like, is it pretty dirty? And they're
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty dirty.
yeah,
Or sometimes people will be like, no, it's really not that bad. And then it is dirty, right?
yeah.
So I always tell people at the end of the conversation, well, from what you're explaining, it sounds like you're probably going to be around three to
Mm-hmm.
$400 for the inside and out.
Yep.
But when we get there, we'll take a final look at everything and just inspect everything and let you know for sure what will be the final price. And then I let all the guys know that when you get there, you have to be willing to say it with your chest if
Yeah,
it's a horrible disaster
I know.
detail and it's going
Yeah.
to be a $500 job. You have to be willing to do that. Be like, this is a little bit worse than what we were expecting. Um, I think that to be able to do a good job, it's gonna be $500,
Mm-hmm.
and you shouldn't feel bad because you're telling them before you do the job, so they still
Yep.
have the opportunity. You've told them once on the phone that it could be more.
Mm-hmm.
You'll let them know when you get there, and then you told them a second time when you get there and you confirm everything. It's like, what more can you do? There's
I
some
know.
shops out there, some car shops in particular, that will take your car, work on it, and then come back at you afterwards
And
with a
tell
bill.
you. Yeah.
And that's what people hate.
No, I know. I think it is like valuable what you're doing, obviously, asking the questions and going through that process. My only problem with that was I would struggle with people like saying like, well, what's the difference? Like, why am I not 260 rather than 280? And then obviously explain it, which is fine. But a lot of the times, like over text, like, so do you call all of your clients?
Yeah.
I always force myself to call them because over text is always confusing,
Yep.
but people aren't picking up things like that, so it kind of
Sometimes.
drags it out. You know what I mean? But I think that's super smart what you're doing. I think I can implement that on our online booking. Just a little questionnaire, yes, no, things like that. That might help us, have a better idea going into it. But sometimes you'd always get a little surprised, like you said. People say it's not that bad, and then it's really bad.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that's just where leaving that open ended part at the end of the phone call, just by saying, well, hey, we'll take a look at it when we get
Yep.
there. And I always tell people, like, if you want to know an exact price before setting anything up, I understand. Bring it
Mm-hmm.
by the shop. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Really take a look at everything. I mean, like, stick your face in the cracks, in the cup
Yeah, yeah.
holders, in the
That's what you
third
got to
row cup
do.
holders.
Because that's the thing. You open the door and it doesn't look that bad. Then you pull the mats out. You start going through your processes, and you're like, "This is fast." You know what I mean? Like, this is going
Yeah.
to take me a while. So we're all like, all of our guys are guilty of doing that. Like, I'm always the "it's not that bad" guy, and they all look at me with a side eye, like, because they know that, like, obviously what they're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be aware, like, if you pick the floor mat up and shake it, does sand come out? It's like,
Yeah.
that's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah. No, I know.
Third row, is there stickers on the back window? Because sometimes you spend
Dude.
forever on those stickers.
See, it's funny. This is why I like having these conversations because not everyone obviously understands this who doesn't detail cars, but there's so many little things that go on that definitely cause a detail to take a lot longer.
Yep. And some people don't care about that stuff. We have a maintenance client that we do about once a month, and she specifically tells us, if you miss something, don't worry about it. You'll
Yeah,
get it next time.
those are the best.
Yeah.
And those are people say like, "Hey, I don't need it to be perfect," and that's always nice hearing. It's being into the detail. We still go above and beyond, obviously, but it's nice knowing that you're not going to be held against the wall. Like, I missed this, that, and the other. We walk every client through a detail at the end, which I'm sure you do yourself as well, just to make sure no callbacks. You know what I mean? Nothing's, we're not confused about anything. Did this not come out? This is why. I think like the communication part is like so important in any sort of price or people's satisfaction is just being upfront and letting people know what's going on in detail. We're honest about everything. Like one time, door fell in our shop, hit a guy's car, dented it, complete freak accident. We took care of it. We told him about it. Where I could have easily I don't know. It was really small. You might not have even seen it, but it goes a long way. And he's one of our best customers to this day, and he just respects us for that. That we went and did that for him. So yeah, just communication is super important.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so you've got 3 vans now, and you've got 2 guys in every van. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, so we have 2 guys in every van. Um, Obviously, we're going through that new agreement now, so we kind of got people in their cars pulling up to the jobs. But I like to keep everyone in the van usually because we've had you know crazy stuff happen to people in their cars, so I like to shy away from that.
Yeah. So do you guys like all meet at one place and then kind of go out from there?
Yeah, so our van's at my house, van's at Aiden's house, and then Casey, our lead tech, keeps the van at his house. We trust him with everything in the business, so I don't really second guess that at all.
Sure. Yeah. So that's a good way to do it. So you're a lead, Casey's a lead, and Aiden's a lead.
Exactly. Um, my brother works with me, lives right here. Casey works with one of our other guys who lives right up the road from him, so that's super easy. And then our other guy, drives obviously to Aiden's house, meets him there, but he's okay with that, and it's not a problem.
So how many cars do you guys try to do per day per van?
We try and do 2 full details per van. Obviously, in these summer months, the schedule gets booked. So we got people that might just want to wash. We'll add that, no problem. Maintenances, no problem. Interiors, no problem. So I'd say like 2 is the base, is like the minimum, and then on top of that, we'll add whatever we can on top, and usually the guys are all right with it.
How long are those days?
Really depends. Obviously, the cars are all different. I'd say each guy's clocking in right around in between 40 and 50 hours a week. Really never under 4, or yeah, we're around 40, 50 hours a week. So everyone's getting solid work, and we're working weekends as well. Some Saturdays definitely die off a little bit here in the summer. Let people go to the beach and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've been everyone's hustling and working hard, so we're getting the hours in.
Well, I feel like I'm always telling myself, like I gotta raise my prices, and it sounds crazy, even still to this day, because I know we're charging a lot, but we just raised our prices again for our interior details because we were looking at that hourly rate, and we're
Yeah.
like, so we were giving out a $200 to $300 range as like our
Mm-hmm.
standard. I mean, if it's got a lot of pet hair, if it's
Yep.
got a lot of stains, then we'll be higher. But
Mm-hmm.
200 to 300 was our average, and I was going, when have we ever quoted a $200 interior job? And it's been a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
90% of the jobs are 250, 300 for an interior. So
That's crazy. That's awesome, dude. But sometimes it reels them in. People hear that 200 is like, maybe I squeak in there. You know what I mean?
sure.
So sometimes, obviously, if you're going to go with the range, I think it is beneficial to kind of keep it a little bit lower. So it's like, I might get in there. Where obviously, like you said, you're never quoting someone that low. That's awesome that you can climb that price rate and get up there. I definitely want to. I think like you said, reevaluate at the end of the year, see where we can get, because we're here to make money. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the business. And I think that's super cool, kind of how you've just climbed to, charge those prices.
Yeah, well, and it's been a journey, man. Like I can't tell you how many times we've raised our price. I've lost track. Like it
Yeah.
was, I mean, I tell people we started at $30 for a full.
Oh my God.
That's what our
That's
starting
nuts,
price
dude.
was.
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
I don't even know how you making money.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
That's
crazy. Austin, my brother, told me we had Panda Express after that detail, and he's like, "Man, this sucks." I'm like, I know.
dude, that's
There's a
so
goal though that we're gonna raise it over time,
see? And now you're
and that's
here.
what happened.
So yeah.
And
No,
now
that's
it's
crazy
crazy.
though.
Now I'm throwing out, $3,000 quotes. Like it's crazy.
Bro, that's sick.
So
That's all right. Like that's like honestly like I'm always looking up to people. You know what I mean? Like I said, Menards up the street from us, killing it. Definitely other shops down here that are killing it. So I'm always like kind of looking up to people, seeing how they got up there. So I feel like you're one of those guys that you know, hearing that you started from 30 and where you're charging now is cool to see. You know what I mean? I like to hear, successful stories, and I've kind of gravitated towards people that, have had that sort of route and scaled a business. It's cool. It's
yeah, I
not
think the
easy.
biggest
Not
thing
easy.
is no, it's not. I think the biggest thing is just looking at your hourly rate though, and like really looking at what you want to be. Because everyone's doing different work. Like there's guys on TikTok that are charging um, $50 an hour, and there's guys charging $200 an hour. But I mean, they might be spending different amounts of time on the same car, but charging the same price. So it gets a little weird because
Hmm.
there's people out there like Diamond Detail um, up in Puyallup, Washington. Those guys are charging like $800, $900 for like an SUV, like a 3-row SUV for a detail.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, that's a more expensive place of the country to live,
Hmm.
but they're spending all day on your car. They're spending eight
Exactly.
hours on your car. I think he's trying to make $120, $115 an hour. Whereas like there's guys that could do the same car and they would charge you a third. They would charge you $300 and they would do a 3-hour detail on it.
Yeah. No, it
And
is
so
kind
you just
of.
have to figure out where you want to be. Like, what do you want to
Hmm.
be known for, and how do you want to set that up, and how do you want to communicate that with your clients? How many can you do a day? And ultimately trying to reach that certain hourly rate that you need to be at.
Yeah. No, it is cool to kind of see how other people price their services and how long they're going to spend on the car, because we always say that we're like, I could spend 12 hours on this car. You know what I mean? But that's not what the customer's looking for. Like, they have a car that they know their dog's going to hop right back in it right after. So, why would they spend $800 to $900 an hour? So,
Yeah.
like you said, you got to understand your customer and understand what they're looking for, and um, get to where they're at, not where you want to be. Like, in terms of how clean you want to get it. Uh, I think I quickly realized as well, like, being the like I'd say like being the best detailer isn't always like the most important thing. Like, obviously quality is always the most important, but like to be labeled the best is, when you're growing a business, isn't always, top of mind.
Exactly. Yeah. Best known
Sometimes,
beats
yeah,
best.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you jump into sales, marketing, maybe you're, like I said, maybe you're a really personable guy and people buy from people they like. I think that was the best sales advice that I've ever taken in, and it's so true. You know what I mean? If I'm out at a bar, or if I'm out at a party, I'm always talking to people on a friendship level, and then eventually they ask me about my detailing company and if they can
Hmm.
get their car done. So yeah, it's not always about like spending 8 hours to provide the perfect detail. You'll make no money.
Yeah. And some people, that's their business model. I mean, there's definitely customers out there that want that, but that doesn't mean everyone has to fit
Yeah.
into that.
So it makes the world,
Uh,
like I would say, like there's so many different avenues you could go, and there's no right or wrong.
mhm.
Everyone, it's what makes the world go round.
That's right, man. Well, what do you guys like? Are you guys booking out a week? Like, what's that looking like right now? Are you trying to get it
Yeah.
down?
So right now, I would say we're honestly week of like, which I love. I think Aiden, he's a little more conservative. I'm probably more like the riskier guy. So he's always like, oh, we gotta get people, and I'm like, they'll come. You know what I mean? People are calling us. I had a couple. We had no cars really booked for Thursday, and then ceramic coating job comes in. Oh, now she wants the interior. Now she wants interior ceramic. Now that day's booked out. You know what I mean? So things happen really quickly, and I think being able to service, people within a day or two is really important because not everyone wants to wait weeks for their detail. Um, I think that's something I've kind of realized is like I used to stress so much about keeping the schedule booked and wanting to be booked out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when really sometimes it's nice to you know be able, like yesterday I was doing a landscaper's truck, bunch of other trucks rolled in. They were like, yo, can you detail my other truck? And I was like, yep, right on it. And now, right after that service, he jumped on quarterly. So it's like, just like that, like something really great happened for our company when just earlier in the day, we're like, oh, we don't have enough cars on the schedule. So I think always being optimistic and, realizing that, the customers are going to come. We have a really good service, really good, business going. And there's no reason they're not going to.
Yeah. I mean, I hate turning down business because, like, especially when it's like a thing where it's like you're too far booked out because you never know that person, like, lifetime value.
Oh
What's
my
that
God.
person really worth? And then all their friends that they refer and their family.
You sound like me. I'm always like lifetime value because I'm always breaking it down. I'm like, listen, if they pay this, like, because that's literally me. Like all the guys laugh at me because I say the same exact thing. Um, I'm always paying attention to that, and obviously the guy that we do every Friday, like I will do anything that he pretty much says along with the detail. Like we pull his cars in, close his garage. He's a little late, but I'm like, it's all right. Like this guy's paying us a lot of money over a lot of time, and we keep providing a good service, and it'll be good.
Yeah. What are your goals like for the rest of the year? Do you want to hit like a certain revenue number per van per month, or like are you like more focused on like marketing at this point, or like what do the goals look like?
Yeah, I'd say diving into the rest of the year here. Obviously, halfway through, we've smashed every goal for the month, which has been awesome. We added our third van, which I wasn't expecting. When I put into our goals, so I would say like right around, I don't know. Every month's different. I'd say at this point we want to break over like 30 every single month. But there are months where you hit 45 and you're like, whoa, this is amazing. So I'd say the line's at 30. I never want to go under that at this point. Obviously the winter months for us are a little tougher. Um, but yeah, I'd say like big goals, which I touched on a little bit, which I don't know if you had a question about, but like getting the licensing agreement going, getting that, person up and running has been huge. So he just got his van yesterday. We're getting it wrapped. So we're diving into that like full, you know, we're fully going in on that. I think we're at a good point in our business where I can put a little more time into, another venture, and still kind of scale this one, as the employees and Aiden's still doing all the still doing a lot of the operations. So it allows me and Aiden as well, to, put some time into some other efforts.
Yeah. So why did you decide to do the licensing deal with that guy instead of just hiring him on with your team?
Yeah. So a lot of people like obviously have this question. Like even if you like if people didn't agree, obviously like I said, everyone's got different opinions and that's fine. So basically my thought process was like even if I did scale this business to let's just say 2 million a year, I think is amazing, right? I think that would take time. It's a lot of headaches. Like 2 million would be great. like that's like huge goal. I'm not like that's probably years down the line. But what am I really pulling from that, right? Like how much is really coming into my pocket with a lot of time and a lot of stress for like how much am I really getting? So I think that's something in detailing where other companies like landscapers and paving, they can reach you know 20, 50 million revenue, and then they're taking a lot more in. We're detailing. I'm not sure if I can really get to that level. So my thought process was obviously capital is always kind of an issue for us a little bit. Like I'm not going to go out and get another van right now. Then I got to hire more people. Then I got to worry about if they're still providing quality. Got to, there's a lot to worry about as a business owner. Where now
Hmm.
he's going to go out there. It's his own business. He's got skin in the game. He's he wants to scale. You know, what I mean, this is his livelihood, and I'm collecting a percentage off of him um, without doing anything. You know what I mean? And I think getting to like a global level, right? Like it'd be really cool if I could get the locals detailing out in North Carolina, New Jersey, just kind of scale really large. And that was kind of my thought process there. It was like a big goal type of thing.
Do you think that it makes more sense for guys that are wanting to get started, or maybe they're started but they're wanting to scale? Do you think it makes more sense to do the like licensing route with someone like yourself versus um, whether it's an equity partnership or like a
hmm
franchise?
So I guess we'll find out. Obviously, I think it's something you got to ask yourself. Like, do you want to make 100K a year, or do you want to make 500K, or do you want to make a million? Do you want to make 2 million? I think for me, like 150K a year to 200K, which is like obviously a great amount, isn't like a goal that I want to just settle down to, right? Like I think that's amazing. Like I make nowhere near that, and if I did ever get to that, that'd be awesome. So I'm still shooting for that. But then once I hit that, like, and am I capped out? Like my business is doing amazing, but like how much more can I really grow at that point? Where like I think I personally at this point in my life, 21, like I want to shoot big, right? Like I want to make millions a year, which would be super cool profit. And I think one of those ways to get there would be a licensing or franchising route. You're just at a much larger scale. Helps with branding. I think it definitely opens up a couple more doors as well. Um, I have a mentor that really helped me kind of make this decision, and he broke it down for me, sat me down. What do you want? And I think that's the biggest question you got to ask yourself in the beginning is, what do you really want to come from this?
Yeah.
So that's probably the question I would ask myself if I was, or that actually is what I asked myself before I dove into this.
Now, do you think that the people that are doing the licensing deal with you, the other detailers, do you think that this model, like the guy that's doing the licensing agreement in your area now, do you think that that makes more sense for them? Like, what are the advantages of
Yeah,
that
I think it
versus
makes
franchising
okay.
or?
Okay. Yeah, I think that I told him today we were walking into Home Depot. I was like, if I ever had another business venture, this is exactly what I would do. Obviously, he's our first one, so he got in for a pretty good deal. I wouldn't really say we're at a position right now to license. Like, I don't have a blueprint to make a million a year, right? For a lot of times, that's what people are doing. Like, you buy into a company like Chick-fil-A, it's going to generate you money. Um, so he's obviously taking a risk on us as well. The opportunity came, and it wasn't something I wanted to turn down. So I think for him, obviously, he got in at a good time, and dude, like he has all the connections that we've built over 5 years. You know what I mean? Like think about it. We started at, you started at 30, I started at 75. This guy's getting trained by me, who's been detailing for 5 years, and now gets to charge, you know, our rates in our van in our setup with my training. Like there's no reason that he shouldn't you know, obviously things happen, but there's no reason that he shouldn't be able to, get to the success that we did. That's like the thought process behind it. Does everything work out perfectly? No, but like that's kind of the logic behind it. Is like, hey, look, this worked for us, and um, it's gonna work for you too.
Yeah. So are you guys doing like a profit split on that or?
Yeah. So there's an upfront payment that he pays to us, and then we collect a royalty off of his monthly his monthly sales.
Mhm.
So that comes in monthly. Obviously, like it's a long term play, right? So let's just say we scale to a million, and then he scales to a million, and we're collecting, let's just say, between I don't know 6 to 15%. Really depends on where we're at. I'd say every deal is probably going to be different. It's a good chunk of change coming in at that point. So it's one of those things where right now you're kind of biting the bullet, still proving out the model. It's a big risk. Is it going to work out? I don't know, but I'm willing to take that risk for, potential of, a score. Like it could be a huge score.
We don't really have a lot of downside on your end.
Yeah, the downside for us would be obviously if, things went wrong. I don't think it's a good look, obviously, to put out bad quality in a new area, um, as well as a van going off the road. But we have an attorney, we have a full on agreement, right? So, if things did go south, we can take that van off his hands, and then we have van four fully equipped and ready, for a deal that makes sense. So yeah, nothing to lose. That's the thing I look at it. I mean, we have a rock solid agreement, and I'm not worried about anything, losing anything, right? Like we have a attorney involved, so
Yeah,
and this
it's the way
is
to do it.
trustworthy guy as well. My mentor, super buttoned up guy, and he set me up with the right people. And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. You know what I mean? People have done it before, and um, just kind of taking my chances and going hard.
Yeah. Are you taking the royalty off of the top line or the bottom?
Top line. So that's for him to budget. You know what I mean? He's pretty much given every detail away for 12. Sorry, 6 to 15%. I can't like obviously say like all the numbers, but
Sure. Yeah. Well, one thing I will say that I feel like I've struggled with over the years is I have like a very long runway in my head of what I want to do. Like
mm-hmm.
it feels like I need to make sure that that runway is as long as possible. So like if I'm looking at a business and I'm like, man, I can only make 200 grand a year, like that's where it's going to tap out. And I've got buddies that think like this and I think like this to some extent. Like it's like I don't even know if I want to do it, but I feel like we need to be careful as entrepreneurs thinking like that because man, the things that come open, that the opportunities that present themselves once you get started. I mean, we've talked about that a little bit on this podcast. It's crazy, man. Like you can't foresee the entire future. So when you feel called to do something, even if you're looking at it, you're like, oh, there's not a whole lot of money there. It's like, man, sometimes if you just go in a year or 2 years from now, you'll look back and there'll be opportunities like opened up that you
Dude,
never would have imagined.
so true. I feel like you said, the customers you meet, the people you meet along the way are huge. Like there's so many doors that are going to be opened. I think obviously sometimes I look back, like I'll look back and be like, was this the right decision? Was it not? Um, but like you said, I want to get into real estate eventually in my life. There's definitely other things I want to dive into. I'd like to own multiple homes, and I feel like there are a lot of successful people out there in multiple businesses. So, like you said, even if things are capped out at 200K or whatever it may be, let's just say you got 7 things bringing in 200K. That's just as good as one thing bringing in, over that. So, I think that's good, a good way to look at it, and definitely something that will be useful for me is kind of looking at it like that because I already told you. You know what I mean? I thought in my head like even if my detailing business did reach $1 million, right? After payroll, after all the van expenses, after everything and all the work I put in, that I know I put in, what am I really getting? Like, what's really going into my pocket? Um, so that's just a question you ask yourself, and that's where you kind of make that decision.
Yeah. Well, it was Daniel from Dynamic Detailing that told me that you can make a lot of money in this profession, but it's not going to make you extremely wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where investing into real estate or the market or other businesses, like, there's a lot of other things that come in there to put your profits, but
Mm-hmm.
once you kind of have the cash cow generating steady cash flow, then you can look into investing into those other things.
Do you know Sebastian Wolfgram? I'm sure you know him. SoCar Auto Spa
Um,
in
yeah,
Colorado Springs. You've
I
seen
know
stuff.
I know like roughly of him, but
Okay.
don't know him
Yeah,
personally.
I don't know him personally either. I just follow him on Instagram. He's similar in age to me. Started detailing from a mobile business. Quickly scaled into a ginormous shop, PPF, ceramics, all that kind of good stuff. And then, he went the franchising route as well. I know he's got a bunch of properties, and he's doing super well. Just social media, so I'm not obviously saying I don't know personally how well he's doing, but I think he's in a good position, and I think he kind of took a enticing route to me, which was obviously I'm licensing right now, but the goal is to eventually franchise. There's just a lot of regulations, it's a lot of upfront money you got to do to get into it, and at the end of the day, I'm still proving out the blueprint, right? Like I'm not going to put a bunch of money into a franchise if the first one doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like you said, there are a bunch of other avenues you can dive into, and it is humbling hearing someone say it can't get you wealthy. You know what I mean? Because that's what we all kind of want. I'd love to
Yeah.
just have money to take care of my kids. You know what I mean? Something like that, which would be cool. But
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not to say that there's not good money in detailing. There absolutely is. Oh my gosh, is there? But it's just, and it's just a one person's perspective in this
hmm
snapshot in time. Like I think that this is a very young industry, and I think
hmm
that it's growing very rapidly. And like I was saying earlier, there's so many opportunities that could come from what we do each and every day. Sometimes you can't always foresee, we want to be able to foresee what the path will look like, but we can't. And sometimes you just have to trust your gut on it and just take it one step at a time and try not to compare yourself too much, to other people. It's like, it's nice to be able to look up to inspiration for other guys. But it's also, it can be a slippery slope there by comparing yourself to other people.
No doubt. I saw something online. Obviously, some people become a CEO at 18, make a bunch of money, and then they might die at 30. Some people find the love of their life at 50 and live till 80, where other people find it at you know 25 and they die. So there's everyone's running their own race, and you do kind of just got to keep your eyes on your own paper and keep hustling the way you're supposed to, and just kind of let everyone else run their own race and do your thing. You know what I mean? Can't pay
Exactly.
attention too much to the outside noise.
Exactly. Well, this has been great, Jake. We'll have to do it again at some point, man.
I was gonna say I was just seeing all your other podcasts as well. You should have some sort of like follow up, quick chat. Some things that people said, and um, kind of see where everyone's at, because I feel like I know myself. Obviously, we're still in like the growing stage, and everyone wants to get bigger, which I'm sure you do as well. So, just kind of keeping this as like almost like a journal.
Yeah, I am. I'm planning on having a few guys back on, and so here soon, hopefully. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Talking and checking in on some of these guys.
Yeah, no, that's just awesome, dude. Like I said, I reached out to you a while ago, and for some reason I was like, maybe he'll ask, and then you texted me, and I was like, that was cool, because I don't know, it's nice seeing obviously things you worked hard for, and then other people realize, notice it, and it's like, wow, maybe I am doing something in the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job, and it's super cool to see the growth that you've had, and super quickly too. You guys have in the last 2 years have grown like crazy, so it's super cool to see, and I'm sure that you're an inspiration for a lot of other people listening to this podcast. So thanks for sharing your story and some of the insights into how you think about your business and run it.
Of course, dude. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me, and it's good
Let's do it
stuff. I
again,
love it
man.
here. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Thanks everyone for listening.